asked Google who makes the best pretzels in the world, and the results were polarizing. Now, I've only been to Germany once and I didn't actually get to try a pretzel. However, I did have an incredible kebab, but that's a completely different story. And of course, going to the other side of the world to try a pretzel from a mall in America, mall, I think could be just a touch harsh on my pretzel-based carbon footprint. So we're gonna do the best thing we can of making them both homemade. And actually, we're gonna keep the base recipe as similar as we can and use a little bit of science, which should actually result in a completely different final product and hopefully answer that question, who makes the best pretzel? Let's go. So German pretzels are shaped a little bit differently. They have a fat belly and skinny arms, a little bit like me. So they're made that way so that you get a nice thick center like a hub, the belly. So with the belly being thicker, that part should hopefully be more like chewy, whereas as it gets thinner, that might be, I don't know, a little bit firmer, a little bit more bite to it. Whereas American pretzels tend to have an even thickness all the way around. No belly or one just constant like thigh. I'm gonna try and keep the ingredients as close together to the American one as I can, just to show you that final difference. I've got some softened butter here. Nice. A sachet of instant yeast. Got some warm water here. A little bit of salt. This is just a little jar of treacle. I was reading, I've got a few tips that we're gonna try and make these a little bit, I don't know if we're gonna get that proper mahogany color. Mahogany, what a fancy word. It was just a tip from an actual German forum. Well, they didn't call it treacle. I don't know, I can't remember what they called it now. So let's just mix the melted butter through that warm water to getting there. I'll tell you what, as this smoothens out, there's something quite nice about like the warmth from that warm water. It's almost like an alternative hot water bottle. Alrighty, I'm really happy with that. That is way smoother now, and now we've got to leave it for about an hour. So yeah, I'm gonna have a little bit of a clean down and we will shove this in a warm spot. I think Boston's bed would be quite cozy, but this should increase in size and then we can move on to shaping them. It has been just over an hour and it is increased in size, but it's gonna get a much bigger rest than that. So for the German ones, we shape them now. I'm not gonna need too much flour for this, but this is where we really start to separate it from the American ones. It's that extra effort you put in. What I've been seeing is you kind of get it like into a log, but then you start to roll it out and keep your belly, like we talked about, in the middle and try to get the other parts slightly thinner as you go out. All right. Looks like a boomerang or a coat hanger. So what I believe we do, and I've seen different versions, I'm not sure about this, whether you do one twist or two. I'm gonna do a mix of both. So literally you make a giant U shape, stretch this a bit, we do one crossover and then again, and pull it back to the belly. You know what, I'll actually take that. That's not too bad. So you've got our three sections here, but look, that is our belly slowly going into these smaller strands. Oh, I might ruin it now as I lift it up. Oh, actually, that worked quite well. So I saw another version where it was literally one over like that, and then pull it back like this. I didn't weigh this dough out, understandably you can see one slightly bigger than the others, but these aren't the final ones. I am gonna keep these, but I don't actually need those ones for the rest of this video because last night I did this. All right, it's 11:15 at night. My dishwasher's on making a noise. Yeah, at least it's giving me some practice for tomorrow to show you guys this step anyway. They should get a bit bigger, although this one looks like a smiley face or something from Star Trek. I'm not so sure. Yep, so here they are. It does, it looks like a smiley Father Christmas. Right, let's see what they look like in the morning. They should get a nice crust on there. Oh, look at you. Let's go for this top one. Yep, so why have we done this? Well, there's actually something quite easy to show you. Recently, we did the 150-hour chocolate cake, and there was a step there where we refrigerated the batter for 48 hours, and there was a section on the cling film that I forgot to cover, and that was completely exposed. So what we do is by refrigerating the dough uncovered overnight, it's created this like really firm edge, and it's in doing that should give our homemade German pretzels their iconic crust, but we're not done yet. Now, of course, putting it in the fridge overnight is going to develop that crust, especially with it being uncovered, but also, like most doughs, slowly develop those flavors in there too, which our American version won't. But what gives the German pretzels that iconic coating? Well, traditionally, they dunk it in something called a lye, which is basically sodium hydroxide or a strong alkaline substance. Now, when I was looking to buy some of this stuff, I started going down this weird avenue of looking at cleaning products and soap making, and I was got really, really worried. And of course, that is the authentic way to do it, but I found some other German bakers just saying, hey, just use a stronger bicarb of soda mix, and some of these other hacks, like adding in that little bit of treacle, can get you almost as close to that mahogany color. I think at one point I was actually looking at swimming pool chlorine and hair dye, so I'm glad I'm taking this route, but we can make it stronger. So I've got a saucepan here, and we need, oh my gosh. What's going on with this spout? I'm gonna get about 1.5 liters of water. Apparently, if I add bicarbonate of soda in, I'm using the entire tub, which is actually perfect to 1.5 liters. You'd think by adding more bicarb of soda, it would change the pH levels. Well, apparently it will, but the most it will go to is about 9 or 10. The pH level of the lye is around about 14. But this is the solution that we're gonna warm up, and the longer we leave the pretzels in it, it might actually help it get darker too. Because that was one of the hacks a German food blogger said. They were like, basically, the longer you leave it in the solution, the better chance it's got. So I'm hoping that some of these hacks should help us. I've got my extremely sciencey setup. We're gonna go for like a 22-ish second dunk. It's gently simmering. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Oh, it's puffing up. Okay. It's off of the spatula. I've noticed a slight change in the color already. I'm gonna try and submerge it a little bit, and I'm cranking the heat up just because it being chilled. Although it's slightly at room temperature, I feel like it has dropped the water a little bit. Ah, right. I will say it has gone sort of like more gelatinous. I think that was supposed to be a good thing. I mean, it definitely looks like a pretzel. Oh no, that was my favorite one, but it's hanging in there. To be fair, that's worked out a lot better than I thought it would, but have a look at my spatula. Look at all like the bicarbonate soda trails on it. It's like instant lime scale. I'm finding if I just drop it in with my hands, don't put the fish slice in with it yet, and then use 2 to lift it out quickly, they actually look pretty good. Another tip was to absolutely blast these for the first 5 minutes at 220C fan. But before we sprinkle them with flaky salt, there was one extra tip to increase the pH levels on the outer layer. And that was to take some pretty much freshly boiled water from the kettle with a 1.5 teaspoons of bicarbonate of soda. So a little bit like an egg wash, which some American recipes I found did actually do that. We're gonna do a pH wash. You know, of course, instead of doing all this, we could have just got the lye, but genuinely, I've really struggled to find it. There was like tablets and bottles and stuff, and I was scared. I mean, one thing we can't deny, we have got a heck of a belly on it. So just a light glaze in this mix. Yeah, this is actually like reviving it. This is bringing it to life. I quite like this step. And then I've got my flaky salt now. I'm not gonna go shy on this. Oh, that's hot, blimey. Are all those hacks we've tried gonna bring it any closer to that deep mahogany brown? We'll find out in about 20 minutes. After 5 minutes, I'll lower the temperature by 20 degrees. Oh my gosh, quick, quick, quick. Okay, this might be a little bit of an anticlimax, but that is exceptionally brown. I was not gonna show you this step, but it's very exciting for me. Yes, that's amazing. Like, guys, you're gonna be great. This is brilliant. That is so much better than I thought. I was so scared. Oh, yes. Spirit of Jurgen Klinsmann be in my kitchen. I'm so proud of myself. They look blooming awesome. Look at you, look at the belly, look at the puffage, look at the brown mahogany-ness. They smell amazing. I am so happy with these. The second batch, I cooked for like 2 minutes less, maybe slightly lighter in color. It's got that firm crust on there, and I can't wait to try it. But if we're quick enough, we can get the American ones done. In fact, I've already started it. Yes, during some of those steps, I've been a busy old bee, and I've already made the American dough, which I wanted to try and make, although with some variations, as similar to the German one as I could. So we've got some bread flour again, and this time, instead of just water, we're also adding in milk to make it slightly more tender and fluffy. We add in a sachet of yeast, light brown sugar. Actually, I didn't know what these were going to turn out yet, but I'm glad I didn't use dark brown sugar because it could have made it look more like this. And as this pretzel is much more buttery, we actually use double the amount of butter. And of course, last up, a little bit of salt. Oh, this is so much more buttery. The difference is mind-blowing. It doesn't look like a cauliflower, and it is so smooth and tender. Look at that thing, that's amazing. Warm space again for about an hour. Look, it's alive. This one smells more yeasty. It just definitely feels like a much more friendly dough, this one. We're trying to roll it out evenly, no belly. I'm gonna put a little bit of water to help make that grip for a minute, because if we dunk that in the bath, that's just gonna unravel and go everywhere. It's got no strength in it. I'm quite worried about this. That's where perhaps another twist will help. We'll just do the double twist again and then down, and that feels a bit stronger. Now, one thing I haven't done yet is really over-exaggerated the height here. I've seen some like that, so I think I'll do that with my other 2 ones and make the sausage lengths longer. U-shape again, twist and then over once, back down, and the longer you pull that down like that, you can get some more height on it like this. I've seen ones like that. All right, preheating my oven to a lower temperature of 200 C fan. This is nearly at a simmer. No wire rack this time. It's gonna go straight on the tray, straight in the oven. We'll probably do it in 2 batches. It kind of just wants like a flash dunk in there. Oh, I've gone a bit big belly-ish on this one, but I really like this one. It's not perfectly level, but I don't want to disturb them at all. I can only fit 3 on this wire rack, so we'll carry on with that. That's actually got a fair bit of cracking in this one. And one thing that I like straight away to enhance it, oh, look at that, making that pop almost immediately. Really bringing it to life. That will just dry on there, give it that extra sort of color and flavor. Shimmy on some sesame seeds. Again, you could bake them straight into it. A little bit of a sweet one. Cinnamon sugar, anyone? Oh, yes. I've also made a nacho sauce for the American one, which I'll tell you about in a minute. But for the German one, we're going to make something called an Abatster, which I think is a Bavarian cheese sauce. I hate camembert. It's been in the fridge. It stinks. Actually has a bit of beer in it as well. This is an Oktoberfest one, so just a little bit. And other than the camembert, I don't know what it is. It just smells of feet to me. Paprika, salt, and this is like a cream cheese spread. Although I love the idea of just slathering butter on it or whole grain mustard, which we will do. I thought, let's just try and do something a bit more like out of my comfort zone. And this is some melted butter. So apparently, if we like mix this all together, oh my gosh, I hope I'm doing this right. I did just make some homemade nacho sauce for the American style. I could have just bought a jar from the shop. So I just did a little roux over the hob, whisked in some milk, added in some red Leicester cheese for some color, mustard powder, cayenne pepper, and a little bit of salt. And that was my homemade nacho sauce. Very nice indeed. And this thing, all right, so it does actually come in different shades of colors. Some are lighter than others. I think I've gone a bit paprika heavy, but that is kind of my USP. But it does seem to be generally chunky and stuff, and that's the stage I've got this to. And ultimately, it's going to be something to dunk my pretzels in, isn't it? It's been a heck of a day, hasn't it? But can we just agree, or shall I at least find out if these are not ass? When I saw that comment, I laughed so hard. What does that even mean? When I was looking into the American ones, it seemed to mention quite a lot about how these have got a shelf life like minimal because they're so soft for like a few hours. Whereas the German ones seem a bit more hardy and they can be revived, particularly on the same day if you warm them up to save the crust. So let's do the American first. I'm gonna go for the sesame one. Oh, it is fluffy. Really soft and tender. I might as well have it on its own. A little sweetness. There's no dominance in the crust. It's buttery, it's fluffy. So let's just dunk a bit in our homemade nacho sauce. I could have just bought a jar, but why not, eh? Oh, that is gorgeous. The little heat from the cayenne. Oh, I could get used to that. Very dangerous. American style, almost neon mustard. I blooming love this stuff. That is going to be hard to beat. In fact, we've even got the cinnamon one here. I love, and this has actually been stood here for about 30 minutes now, how fluffy that is. I do like the mellowy, fluffy. There is a buttery vibe. Obviously, there's more in there, but it's not like massively overpowering. That's just actually just really good. Okay. Right, German mode activated, got the beer here. So I was actually going to get some melted butter. I was going to melt this up, but that is not what is done, apparently. What is done, and it wouldn't be rare to perhaps have some sausage, apparently, alongside the table too, is you would halve this. Almost feels like I'm cutting into a croissant. You can see the crust. Almost where the bicarb soda's gone like, woohoo! Or was it also that overnight rest? That crust it formed was crazy. So I'm just going to get a little bit of butter. Now, sometimes in Germany, I believe they sell it as a buttered pretzel as well. Well, they'd spread it and then put it in the fridge. And I think they serve it as like a buttered pretzel or something. I went down an avenue like that and I thought, whoa, whoa, whoa. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Oh, no, let's have it on its own first. Oh, that is incredible depth of texture. It's not leathery at all, but that's the first description I had in my mind. That crust is like really terrible, but it's got like a layer of extra flavour around it. It's definitely more bitter and sort of like malty and savoury. Ooh, that butter really took it to another level. That's incredible. But one thing I think I'll really like, I love whole grain mustard. I could see myself definitely going over to Germany, sitting at a table with one of these, and maybe a bratwurst, or I think it was called like a Wiebenwurst or something. If countries had a taste, Germany would taste like that. Let's try, oh my gosh, a good old dollop of this Abatster. I love how it's nearly the same colour as our homemade nacho sauce. Whoa. Ugh. At first, the camembert, I mean, I could sort of smell it before I ate it. My fridge stinks. But then it's slightly mellowed out to like more of the beer flavour coming through. Bit of mustard with it to overpower it. Damn, that's good. But then the American ones were good too. Oh my word. I don't even want to get international. We're dunking the German one in the American mustard, but it's all good. But they're so similar, but also so different. If you want a softer, fluffy, buttery, like slightly sweeter, milder, but absolutely delicious pretzel, the American gets it. But the flavor profile of leaving this overnight where the flavors has developed, it's so much more richer and intense. It's gorgeous. If I was going savory, it would be the German style, sweet, American. Loved this video so much. I've laughed, I've learned, I've nearly burnt myself a few times. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.